Hello and welcome back to Against the Storm. In our last episode, we continued our first town in a brand new save, and we have expanded to a second hearth, so a second neighborhood, or a second hub rather, that we need to upgrade to a neighborhood. So we'll do that shortly. We need to add some decorations. We also expanded out into a couple of more danger glades, including this one that's still being worked. This is the Rain Spirit Totem. We are converting it into a hostility decreaser. It's currently increasing our hostility by 150 points, but when it's done, it will not only negate those 150 points, but give us 50 more back as well. Woodcutter's camp needs something to do. Oh, okay, you're over there. Oh, you were cutting trees for the... yeah. Come on over here. Come on over here. Let's put up a few more fields over here. I think that'll be it. I've already got that one. Yeah, that one's got something on it. That one's got a field on it. That's empty. It won't go any further than that. They never go any further. You can always find a spot, at least in my experience, you can always find a spot to put the whatever the farm building is that does not cover up any fields, but does cover all the fields with its reach. So keep that in mind. Although they didn't get much chance to work here because we didn't assign them until after the episode. So we didn't really get anything out of this. I'm just going to leave the people there though because I'll forget about them otherwise. But they do have, between the two of them now, that is, they do have 14 fields to work, which is pretty good. 7 each is a pretty good number. 7 or 8 is kind of where you want to aim for. We have 11 on this one. We never did move this one over. We should do so, shouldn't we? Yeah, we should. We need to delete these 2 roads here. And then we need to come around what that building would be, which is here. So come this way, and then like that. And that leaves a 4 square for that building. And then we can move that building, but remember it costs us 1 lumber to do so. So do that at your own risk. But we'll just go ahead and move that over. They won't complain too much about having been moved, but we do need to trim another tree or 2 here, I think. So let's actually bring one of those 2 lumber camps, woodcutters camps, up here, and have them pull those trees up while we're here, thinking about it. Because we'll need to put some farms down on those. Still nothing for the harvester's camp. Reeds and plant fiber have been pretty... well, reeds don't exist on the ground in this biome, but plant fiber's been pretty sparse. We had 2 camps worth it, or 2 clusters of it, I think. So we just need to open 1 more danger glade in order to get this last order solved. We do have super happy lizards. They're at 23. They need to be at 22, so that's good. And our humans have 31, and they need to be at or above 30 to get reputation. So we're gaining 0.22 and 0.38 here. So we're actually gaining a little more than a half a point, 0.6 points per minute, while these are both glowing brightly here. If we have 3 people, we need to assign them into this tavern. We do have plenty of people. I'll put a beaver in there for fun. By putting a couple of humans and a beaver in here, now we get this +3 to global resolve, which just kicked the lizards up even higher, the humans up even higher, and get our beavers up to 23 out of 30. They're not nearly as happy. We might be able to look at what can make them happier. If we had pickled goods, that would make them happier. If they had beaver housing, that would make them happier. If we could make ale, that would make them happy. That would make them happier. We can't sell scrolls for education, unfortunately, and we can't sell wine for luxury because we don't have the buildings to do so. So we have to just suffer, I think. Unfortunately for the beavers, they just have to suffer. Oh, you've got those trees down already. Okay, then come back over here then. We could potentially put them in some better jobs or something, but it is what it is. It's fine. Let's go ahead and put that down. That'll get them covered here. That's 11 now, so I think I'm going to throw a second person in here. It's overkill, but it's underkill to only have 1 person in there when I have so many free, because 1 person can't possibly work 11 fields. So that's kind of what we're at. Let's go ahead and put up some of those decorations out here. I'm just going to do my square fence here again. Let's do it over here. Wait a minute, did I put that one down wrong? I might have. I might have. Gotta do it right if we're gonna do it. Right? Right. There. They'll come and build those, it'll be fine. Where are we at with tools? We have 22 tools. Okay, do we want stone, wine, coal, and ale? Do we want... where's the other one at? Over here. Wildfire essence, cosmetics, meat, and ale. Let's go with this one. It doesn't really matter, I guess.
Yeah.
But we'll go with it anyway. I'm going to take the stuff. I am tempted to take the point, because that would get us almost to the end. But, ooh, they moved to 29? Dang. And you can see the humans didn't move at all from 30. And that would rush us to the end, but I think I'm going to let them get there with reputation, just for fun. So that was 14 out of 22, so we should have 8 left. Yep. 8 will get us the one small one, but not any of the medium ones, unless there happen to be more tools being made, or there's plenty that can be made. Oh, there's plenty. They still made some packs of luxury goods because we still had some stuff left over. They're still doing so. Oh, I have a lizard in here. I need to put a beaver in there. Oh, I didn't realize that. All this time I could have been getting bonus to production. Yeah, we've got plenty of copper left, so they'll just have to work on that stuff. You can also make a second of any building you want. So if we really wanted to, we could put another carpenter up, and we could assign, 3 more people to work there, and we could crank out even more of these things. That's completely, up to you. If you really think you need to have more production of a certain thing, by all means, put up a second of that building, or take 2 buildings to make the same thing, even at the same star level. The example would be the carpenter and the workshop, both. They both make planks at 2 stars. That could be worth it, because then you can divvy up the work for the planks across 2 buildings. Even if they have different star levels, it can sometimes be worth it, because you can have you could have a lumber mill and a carpenter, and you could say, okay, well, the carpenter, I only want you to make planks up to a certain limit, and you could even lower than 30. You could make it 10 or 20, and what happen then is both the carpenter and the lumber mill will make planks until you get to that threshold point, whatever you set on the carpenter, and then the carpenter will stop making them, and the lumber mill will only make them beyond that point. What that gets you is faster or more planks when you're spending a lot of them, when you get low, effectively, but not when you're closer to the end game, I guess, or closer to full, your inventory full. Did they get this done? They did. So it's now also an encampment level hub, and again, we cannot go beyond this until we unlock more in this Smoldering City. So let's take a look at our cornerstone here. Reinforced tools on the small farm specifically. This is just like the one we have here for the small farm, the plantation, and the small farm. Plus 25% to the amount of goods produced in the small farm, the plantation, and the herb garden. Oh, right there it is. It would be nice if they were all together, except this is plus 50% and only applies to the small farm. That's not a bad deal. Or we can gain 20 amber for every 100 ale produced. Well, we don't have an ability to produce ale. I'm just going to take this one. We only have one small farm, but look at those bonuses now. Plus 25%, plus 75%. Now, the math on these, these add together. It's an additive effect. So we had 3 and 6 as the base amounts. 75% of 3 is 2.25, so this produces 5. 75% of 6 is 4.5, so it rounds up to 5, and we get 11 out of the deal. They add together to make 75. They don't multiply across to make a little bit of an additional effect. That would be 3 times 3 plus a quarter of 3, which would be 3.75, plus half of that would be I can't do that kind of math, Wally. Jeez. 5.6, which would round up to 6. So you can tell right there that this math is based on the additive method, not the multiplicative method. Okay, enough of that. Ooh, Jorg is just about here. Good. We want to hit another danger glade, too, to finish up this order. But I wanted to wait for Jorg to get here. So I made some comments in the last episode, and I want to thank Umber for pointing out the wording that I used. It wasn't exactly correct. They do not bring the exact same goods every time. They bring a sampling from a pool of goods. But certain types of goods are standard in their pool, and they will always bring a certain amount of certain types of goods. So things like raw food, there will always be however many stacks of, or there should always be however many stacks of raw food brought by Jorg. At least that's the way that I understand it. I've never actually like sat down and written it down or analyzed it or spreadsheeted it or anything, but that's the way that it feels to me, is that they bring not necessarily the same exact goods, but they bring the same types of goods from the same pool. So keep that in mind. Is there anything we want to buy here? 1 insect for every 2 mushrooms produced. Planting crops is faster. The plantation at this point we don't really need. If Jorg had ale, I would buy ale. If Jorg had the fighting tool things, training gear, I don't know, I can't remember that, I would buy that. But sadly, Jorg only has wine. So we're not going to buy wine, but we could buy some pickled goods. In fact, we could buy all the pickled goods. Not that they're all that useful, but or not that they're all that valuable, I should say, but I think it's worth it because we can't actually make pickled goods. One thing I also want to show you is I clicked and I used this slider to select all of these. You can also just right-click on something, and that goes for over here too. You can right-click to move the whole stack in or out, instead of having to left-click and slide the slider. Beyond that, I think maybe we'll just buy some tools or something, just to kind of sell all these packs off. We have a crap ton of parts too. These are actually valuable. If you're getting toward the end of the game where I am, and you really need some amber for something, sell your parts. Sell some of your parts anyway, especially if you have 36 of them, and you have a point left in your reputation. In your reputation. Sell 30 of those 36 or something, because you only really need them for gathering buildings, and one other thing. Storage, remote storages, I think mine, but the mine is technically a gathering building. So you could sell those off and you'll get, plenty of value out of it. Anything else we need? I don't think so. I mean, food is food, yes, but we could, take some and cook some of it. But I think all I'm going to do is just buy a few of these tools to balance this out here. And 2343 is actually a pretty good balance compared to 2355. So we're just going to go with this here, 3 tools, and balance out those packs there. Here we have our caravan, 5 and 5. Okay, 5 tools here, some food and herbs here. We're growing herbs. We can pick mushrooms. If we're not currently picking mushrooms, we can switch to picking mushrooms. We have a couple of spots of mushrooms. So I would say the tools are better here. So let's go with the tools. Let's clear Jorg out. The humans are already happy, and you can see here that their reputation threshold did not move from 30, whereas the lizards are now at 29 from 15 originally, I think. Let's pick out a new danger glade, or it could be a forbidden glade too, I think, right? I don't think I want to do forbidden glades, though. I don't think I want to be that adventurous in my first map on a new save. Although they are tempting out there. They are tempting. I think we'll go with this one right here. It'll take a little bit of work to get to, but I think it'll be worth the work to get there. Let's go like this, and then kind of like a diagonal, I guess. And let's move both of you people over here. Can't go quite there yet. We'll do like this and like this for now, and then they can do their thing. I'm going to clear this one out of their face. That's 6 of my 24. Get out of my face. And over here we'll take this big one too. We'll take all the goods too, just for fun, and get out of my face. How are you doing on cooking? We're cooking. We've eaten all of our used all of our bugs. Interesting. I'm actually going to kick the speed up to kind of get this accomplished. And we could even do another woodcutter's camp with 3 more woodcutters if we wanted to do so. And just have them chewing away at this this huge forest here. Randomly received 30 goods because we opened up some caches in the, or finished some cache openings, I should say, in the storm, or in the drizzle. We only have 4 tools left, though, so more cache opening is not on the plate for right now. We do have a couple of mediums we could open if we wanted to. But by getting this one out of their way, that'll help. Plus, they have that huge carry bonus that we've got. No, that's not that. That doesn't affect them. It only affects Glade events. Actually, those are Glade events. It does count for them. Okay, so we've won now. Settlement complete. The village's position is secured. You can now choose to leave or continue to play on this map, but additional deeds won't be completed, and you will not earn any more experience points or Citadel resources. We earned 70 experience points. We earned 40 food, and we earned a crap ton of deeds here. And we could look at them here. We could look at them in the deeds window. I think we'll look at them in the deeds window. It says, oh, difficulty multiplier of 1.0. The difficulty multiplier is different from the hostility multiplier, but I thought the difficulty multiplier for Pioneer was higher than 1.0. Either way, we scored 790 points. This score, I don't think matters to us right now. This is a score that goes towards competing against the opposing factions once we have unlocked the opposing factions. But I don't think we have one yet, so this kind of doesn't matter at this stage of the game, but it will matter, you know, much later on. But it shows you here how that score breaks down. By winning, you get points. By getting reputation points, you get points. By having impatience left, you get points. So really, you want to end the game with your impatience bar at like 13 out of 14, and your reputation at obviously 14. 10 orders completed out of the 11 we were offered. We were trying to finish the last one, but we just didn't get the chance. Regular events solved, 10 at 5 points each. Dangerous Glade events solved. I think these are the chests, by the way, the caches. Or 2 at 5 points each, 10 points total. We saw more than that of caches. I don't know. Maybe there's just the caches in the regular glades? Interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting something from one of the first couple of episodes that we played this town in. Dangerous events solved. We must have solved 10 of the, or 5 of those. So we got 50 points. Oh wait, regular events solved 5. I read it backwards. I confused myself. Kind soul. What does that mean? No villagers died. Oh, it does tell us. Okay. I guess kind soul. No villager died. We got 50 points for that. No villagers left either, so we got 50 points for that. We finished the game before year 12, which is interesting that it actually, yeah, that's a long time. I mean, we're at the beginning of year 8. I could have pushed this and probably got us out in 6 or maybe 7. If I would have taken reputation points at the caches instead of the supplies. But then again, the ones that had copper in them helped us get more tools to get more supplies, or more caches. So I don't know. We got 10 points for that anyway, and we got 10 points for having at least 40 villagers. So I'm going to continue settlement real quick here, just to take a quick screenshot. You all can join me for that, just of the whole town. This may or may not be the thumbnail for this episode, depending on what we get into in the next town. But at least I have that. And then once you've done that, you could have clicked the other button there, or you can here on the escape menu, which you can click this button to get there. You can click move on, and that asks you if you want to leave the town, but it's telling you that you've already proven your resilience in this settlement and you're free to start a new expedition. So yeah, we want to leave the town. And this returns us to the world map. So the world map has changed a little bit since the last time we were here. There's now this town, which is the one we just finished. We can clear that. We don't need to read that one. This town is now permanently on this map. Well, permanently on this map. This town will stay until this bar gets past this little tick mark. Once this bar gets past that little tick mark, we have to finish the Blightstorm cycle, and then all settlements are wiped from the map, and the map begins anew. The other thing that's changed here is you can see that the range, the vision range here, has expanded due to the fact that we've added a little town here next to here. It pushes that vision range out just a little bit further than it was before. Right now, our radius here is pretty small from a town. We can only go 2 tiles out from any given town, which is the same as our vision range. We can also only go 2 tiles out from the Citadel, well, from the Citadel's mountain or volcano there. You can see we can't get out to that 3rd tile just yet, but we have vision at 3 tiles from the Citadel. So we're going to go into the Citadel first, the Smoldering City, and we're going to take a look at the upgrades tree. We're going to take a look at the deeds screen, and then we'll come back here to the world map, and we'll actually start another town this episode. So we have 9 deeds, which we saw in that finishing screen, that win screen. So we can go into the deeds menu here and take a look at those. They always are sorted to the top once you've the ones you just completed. You can click to complete them all. You can see here what they are for. Our first real expedition, we won a game in the biome Royal Woodlands, and on the difficulty Settler or higher, we played on Pioneer, which is 1 level above Settler. We've got 50 experience points for this. We can clear that one. We get new Citadel upgrades because we leveled up. We got into level 2 here. We also unlocked a few more buildings, including the temple, where we can provide religion and education. Education is those scrolls we could make the last time, and religion is the incense we could make last time. Unlike the ale and the training gear that we didn't actually take any buildings for, that we could make. Or that we didn't take any buildings to make, that we could actually sell. So now we'll be able to sell 2 more of the luxury goods, the services goods here, if we take this building. The scribe makes scrolls at 3 stars, ale at 2 stars, and simple tools at 1 star. The mine is an essential building. It can be placed on top of coal and ore veins, or the mine as an essential building, I should say, can be placed on top of coal and ore veins. It digs up copper, ore, and coal. There are no copper or coal veins in the Royal Woodlands. They are in, I think, between the 2 of them, in the other 3 biomes, but there are none in the Royal Woodlands, or the Cursed Royal Woodlands for that matter. We have Old Farlough as a trader. He's the 3rd trader you get in the game. He might have metal, fuel, tools, building materials, and a number of blueprints and perks for sale. He's willing to buy packs of goods, resources, advanced building materials, metal, and some crafting materials. We get the Rich Glades Cornerstone, which gives each newly discovered resource node 10 more charges. So that applies to the small nodes and the large nodes the same. So small nodes will get 10 charges each, times 4 in a cluster, say. Large nodes will gain 10 charges in a single cluster. Since they kind of go in those ratios, you can see that actually having small nodes is better in terms of the amount of materials you're going to get overall. And then we also get a cornerstone for over-diligent woodworkers. This is one of my favorites to get. Some woodworkers just can't stop working. Gain 3 barrels for every 10 planks produced. You can see that if you get this one early in the game, you can reap a huge benefit from it, because you make a lot of planks throughout the course of a town. And barrels are a vessel type, so anything you make that requires a vessel, the aforementioned pickled goods, the aforementioned ale, wine, there may be something else, 1 or 2 other things too, that all require vessels. Between the barrels and the pottery and the wineskins, or the leather skins, what do they call them? I don't know, whatever they're called. Those 3, they're your 3 vessel types, and they're used interchangeably, but this is 3 free barrels for every 10 planks produced, which is really good. If you have something you need to have put into a vessel, and you're making planks anyway, so that's really good. All right, the next thing is, and that was all just from leveling up to level 2. That wasn't part of this deed. That was just from level 2. We also have orders from the Queen. Complete 10 orders, and this is a cumulative one, by the way. And there's many more of these orders from the Queen here. We can actually search here. Orders from the Queen 2, complete 30 orders. These are just cumulative throughout your game. So even if we hadn't completed 10 orders in this map, in this settlement, the, say, 9 that we completed would have carried over to, or would have accumulated on this, and we would have gotten it, assuming we completed at least 1 order in our next town. Excuse me. So let's click on that. We'll complete it. It gives 50 more points. You can see we're probably going to get to level 3 here. Rolling in wealth. Trade goods worth 50 amber. This gives us another 50 XP. Let's go ahead and do that one. Win a game after solving 5 glade events. Well, we solved a lot. We solved 10 glade events, I think is what I remember from the finishing thing there. That was a lot. 50 more points, and that gets us to level 3. New Citadel upgrades available. We've gotten the Guild House, which is another services building where villagers can fulfill the needs for luxury, which is wine, which only affects beavers, and it has passive effects too. All of these buildings have some kind of a passive effect. We'll look at those when we are offered them as part of the blueprints. And the Clan Hall, where villagers can fulfill the needs for brawling and religion. So religion is humans and lizards, brawling is lizards and harpies. The Cellar produces wine at 3 stars, pickled goods at 1 star, jerky at 1 star. Metal Delivery Line is a cornerstone where you get 2 copper bars per minute. You know, this is obviously another good one to get kind of early on. I mean, you can get any time, is better than no time, but any free stuff is free stuff. I like free stuff. Rebellious Spirit is another cornerstone. This is another one that I like. The people feel oddly rebellious. Gain 1 global resolve for every 2 impatience points. If you take this cornerstone, make sure you keep that impatience meter, that red meter, as full as reasonably possible. Because that means you're going to get more global resolve out of it. And the higher the impatience meter, the lower the hostility is. Because impatience is a positive hostility trigger. So there's 2 benefits for having a high impatience meter. Of course, don't max it out, because otherwise you will lose. And Safe Haven is a cornerstone where you get -40 to hostility for every hub upgraded to level Neighborhood. Neighborhood is the 2nd hub level. Fertile Meadows. Win a game near the modifier Fertile Grounds. Yep, we did that one. And Overcoming Difficulty. Win a game on difficulty Pioneer or higher. That gave us not XP, which is kind of a bummer in this case, but it gave us a decoration, an essential comfort decoration. All decorations are essential buildings, but it gave us another comfort decoration, another green one, so we can lay a stretch of pipe now, or a piece of pipe anyway, on the ground. Again, it's just decorative, but it counts toward that hub level upgrade, so it's worth it. Big Settlement. Win a game with at least 40 villagers. That gives us a lamp, which is a blue decoration. That's the 2nd tier of decorations. Win a game with 0 villagers dying. That was worth 50 experience points. Win a game without solving any camp event. We haven't seen the camp events, so of course we didn't get to solve those, but that gave us another 50 experience points. Almost level 4. Alright, because we got 8 glades out of 10. Yeah, nice. Or 3 games 1 is another one here. We'll eventually play in the Scarlet Orchard. We'll get that one for that one. You can see, and you can scroll through this list on your own too and see just the wide variety. Wow, we traded 128 amber worth of goods in that one map. That's pretty good for your first map. Reputation points through resolved. This is accumulative as well, so you can get that over the several maps case. The upgrades tree. We earned 41 food stockpiles. Actually, we earned 42 food stockpiles, and we had 1 left over from, I think it's a bug in the tutorial process, in the canceling of the tutorial process. But you can see that some of these are very cheap. The next 2 actually are just 10 food apiece. We have another one up here that's 10. You have to add to a building sequentially, which was a change added during the rewrite of this upgrades tree. You used to be able to pick and choose anywhere in the tree you wanted. Now you have to go per building. You have to build one upgrade on top of the other. So we have some choices. With the 41 things we have here, we could buy all 3 of these 10s and then be done, or we could buy 2 of these 10s as long as it includes this one, and then we would actually have enough to purchase this level of the Obsidian Archive. So we should take a look at these. Queen's Impatience always comes with the Obsidian Archive, a permanent -2 to the speed at which the Queen's Impatience grows, and more Citadel resources. You gain 10% more Citadel resources whenever you finish a settlement. So instead of getting 40, we would have gotten 44. Here we open up the Monastery of the Vigilant Flame. their base stat is permanent 2% to the burning duration for all types of fuel burned in the hearth. This is global, so this is always applied. This isn't like a perk from a cornerstone or a racial perk or anything like that. This will always take effect. So a little bit longer burn time, which means that you don't go through your wood or coal or whatever as often. And we get some embark bonuses for stone or clay here. Embark bonuses are the right hand panel on the embark window, or when the embark screen comes up. Right now we had eggs, roots, and wood, I think, or something. 2 foods and wood anyway, for sure. But this will add those as options there. Or we can choose the Pioneer's Gate level 1. Villager speed increase. Every villager in your settlement gets a permanent plus 2% increase to their walking speed, which means they get stuff done faster. And an embark point. You gain 1 embark point to spend on resources and bonuses before starting a new settlement. So starting the last town, we had 3 embark points. But because we started at Pioneer instead of Settler, that knocked our embark points down by 1 to only 2 embark points. So this kind of replaces that embark point that Pioneer takes away from you, and gives you back the 3rd one effectively. And if you play on Settler still, if you're new to the game and you're still playing on Settler, which you should be, probably, then you'll have 4 points to spend. So that's even better, because you also could potentially unlock a 4th item in stone or clay here. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck unless more items got added due to the leveling up. We'll have to actually take a look. So I'm definitely going to take this one because I want to at least potentially, I'm almost certainly going to take this one. But I want to look at what this offers here at Obsidian Archive level 3 before I decide if I want both of these or that one instead of one of those. The Queen's Impatience, of course, again, and Consumption Control enables advanced controls for what is being consumed in your settlement and by whom. Well, I only rarely use this screen. It's not that new, or it's not that old either. It's not been in the game very long. But think of this in your Dwarf Fortress type games, RimWorld, Oxygen Not Included, where you can enable and disable different types of food from being eaten by different people. This works the same kind of way. You can enable and disable different types of food from being eaten by different species. So it's useful, or you can completely disallow it for that matter. It's useful in that case to completely disallow it when you want to make sure that you save up something for a Glade event, for example. Same thing we did where we disabled the burning of oil in the hearth when we were making sure we saved that 30 oil to use 20 of it for that Glade event. It's the same kind of concept, except that this applies to food consumption. You can also disallow them from eating raw food, especially once you are making cooked food. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one for sure. The extra Citadel resources is never a bad deal. The Queen's Impatience speed is never a bad thing to slow down. And then I'm going to take this one because I want to show you this screen and talk about it a little bit more. And then you can decide between these two. Do I want the fuel time? Do I want the walking speed? Do I want the embark bonuses? Do I want the embark points? I'm going to go with this one, I think. The fuel burn time, I'm okay with. I mean, it is something over the course of the town. It'll save you some wood or some coal, but I'm okay. Stone and clay, I think, are going to cost us at least 2 embark points each. So we may not want to take those anyway, especially because we're only going to have 2 embark points unless we take this one. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one here. And that leaves us with 3 food stockpiles left. No machinery, no artifacts yet. Let's close this window. It takes us back here. You can see we built the new building. That was the, what's it called again? The Pioneer's Gate. That's here. Because we bought the first level in that. I'm a little saddened by the fact that taking additional levels of a building don't enhance the appearance of that building in some way. In some, maybe in some cases it makes it taller or something like that. I kind of hope they add something like that to the game, just to have a visual here of how much you've accomplished. But it's not. It's only for prettiness. Totally not functional. So we need to pick out another place to start. Well, first off, we have access to all 4 biomes in this map. We can reach all 4 of them as part of our embarkation range. But one thing to keep an eye on is here in the right up adjacent to our existing town. You can see that in some of the tiles, the little food icon here is brightly colored and I think they're sparkling more too. The tiles are sparkling more. Whereas in some of the other tiles, the food icon is dim and they're not sparkling as much. That's because those tiles have already been harvested, exploited. I don't know what word you want to use there, by the previous town or a previous town. So unless you really, really want to expand directly adjacent to your town, especially at this early stage of the game, I actually don't recommend you setting up another town directly next to your existing one. Instead, go to a slightly different part of the map where you can get all 7 tiles lit up brightly. It's up to you, of course, but going from, say, here at 30 food or here at 36 food versus out here somewhere at 42 food. Remember that we got that additional 10%? Wait, 5%? Whatever percent it was, of additional food that we got. No, we didn't. We didn't take that one. Never. No, wait. 10% more Citadel resources whenever you finish a settlement. So I think that's what that's giving me, is that. Maybe? No, it's not. It's not showing that you don't get it until you finish the settlement. So it's showing the 42, which is 6 times 7, just like this is 6 times 6, and this is 6 times 5. So keep that in mind. You obviously can't do another town directly on an existing town, nor... Wait, you can do a town directly next to. Yeah, don't do that either, because you're only going to get like 3 there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to look around here a little bit, and I'm going to notice that where these question marks are. Because these question marks are additional map modifiers, like the one we got here, the Fertile Grounds one we got here, or they are treasure on the map. So we want to work our way toward one or more of these question marks to see what type of modifier that tile that might be hidden there, and also or a treasure chest that we can open up to get more Citadel resources from. So and experience points too, I think. So I think I'm going to head out this way. We could go to this marshlands, which won't actually expand that far enough, I don't think. We could go to this Royal Woodlands. We're kind of stuck here a little bit if we want to go in that direction with another Royal Woodlands. This marshland will open up... Actually, that would be just enough if we want to do the marshland. Maybe we should, but maybe we shouldn't. That's the question. Otherwise, the rest of the question marks are much further out. It would take us a few towns to get that far, so I don't think that that's worth it. But maybe this marshland actually isn't a bad idea, because it also gets us a little closer to this question mark as well. Now, the marshlands is a completely different biome, a completely different way to play the game. The marshlands is a harsh and cold land that is claimed by different extremely resilient species of fungi. The ground is very hard and rocky, and that makes it difficult to farm. It's famous for its abundant fauna and insects. Sorry, I need a drink again. I think I'm going to stay on Pioneer for the marshlands because it is a little bit more difficult. I was correct. We didn't get any new stuff. So we got eggs, roots, and wood. But remember, we started out with 4 embark points now because we bought an additional 1 with the upgrades. And we're losing 1 because of Pioneer, so we still have 3 left, which is kind of nice. The modifiers here, we're going to, again, have 2 positive modifiers during the drizzle and 3 negative modifiers during the storm. The biome effects for the marshlands: gathering knowledge. The marshlands are a gatherer's paradise. Gathering speed is increased by 10% for every 2 workers assigned to gathering camps. And that's globally, all camps added together. And giant organisms. The marshlands are home to enormous life forms. Giant resource nodes can be found in forbidden glades. Each glade will have a different one. We're going to have to try to open a forbidden glade just to see what we might get in there. Yeah. The trees here will give wood, mushrooms, and leather, because they are claimed by extremely resilient species of fungi. On the ground, we're going to find eggs, stone, roots, meat, insects, mushrooms, clay, grain, coal, and copper. So the meat here is a different kind of meat. It's a different species, so the bonus resource will be different than the last one. It won't be leather. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. It won't be leather. It might just be bonus meat, actually. But there'll be a different type of species, a different species of meat, and there will be a different species of eggs as well, which will have a different bonus resource. The ones we had, the stormbird eggs we had, were the bonus resource was meat. We'll see. We'll have to see what the new one is. I'm being coy. 9 beavers, or 6 beavers and 2 humans. The 9 beavers will also bring with them 2 additional villagers, whereas these folks will not. We have 2 stacks, though, of food here versus 3 here. The same amount of parts, the same amount of wildfire. These folks have a few coats that they're bringing with them. Same amount of wood, the same amount of coal. These folks have some copper they're bringing with them. But remember, a person is better than no person, so I'm going to go, even though I don't usually like to have all 9 be one race, I'm going to go with this because of the 2 additional people. Maybe we'll get one or the other of the races popping in here. But remember what I said about the hearth. If you've seen my tutorial on the ancient hearth, actually you can't have seen my tutorial on the ancient hearth yet, it comes out later today. The default race to pop into a hearth will only be taken from the races physically shown here, unless they change something and I'm wrong. But we're going to see, because if I'm wrong, then the tutorial is wrong as well. So let's go ahead and jump into this settlement and see what happens. Embark. So our forest mysteries this time, during the drizzle, salty breeze, the salty air makes it easier to preserve food. Food production speed is increased by 80% during the drizzle. And that should be like complex food, I think, not raw food. I don't think raw food. We'll see. We can actually check that on the gathering camps. Important matters. Impatience grows 80% slower during drizzle. The queen seems to be preoccupied with more pressing matters. That's nice too. That keeps our, well, it's nice and not nice. It keeps our impatience low, which is nice, but that means that our hostility will be higher because of our lower impatience, so that's not nice. Of course, we have looming darkness. That is the same as it was in the previous. Rotting wood. At hostility 2, in the storm, of course, woodcutters cut trees 50% faster, but have a 100% chance to destroy their yield. The rain causes trees to rot and fall apart. So, unless you're trying to just clear trees for the purpose of clearing trees, you might as well pull all your woodcutters out during the storm. From hostility 2 and beyond. The funny thing of this is, by pulling the woodcutters out, you'll probably drop a hostility level. So, maybe you don't need to pull them all out, you just need to drop below hostility 2. Also hostility 2, hailstorm, is a conditional forest mystery, where from hostility 2 onward, I said that already, villagers with this effect have a 5% chance to perish every 15 seconds. To prevent it, fulfill the housing need. So definitely by hostility 2, we will need to have shelters built, at a minimum, for everybody. Otherwise, we'll lose somebody. And cold snap, also a conditional mystery. At hostility 3, villagers with this effect have a 50% chance to consume double the amount of food during a break, mitigated by complex food. So anything that's manufactured or cooked or produced in a building versus the in a industrial building or a cooking building, not a camp building. These aren't bad. These are actually pretty good. Housing's easy to manage. This one will be fine. We'll just have to remember about it once we get to hostility 2. And cold snap should be okay as well. Even if they do consume that bonus food, it'll be all right. But hopefully we'll have some complex food at the time we get to hostility 3. All right, so let's start this map out the same way as I did the other one. We look around, we find that we have roots here. We have meat here. This is our leech broodmothers. Oh, wait. They do have leather as their side resource, but they give a lot of leather. I don't know if that's because of this biome or it's because of their species, but 120% chance for leather. Well, 100% chance for leather and a 20% chance for leather, which means that for every harvest of this, all 15 charges, you will get 1 meat and 1 leather, and then you'll have a 20% chance for a second leather. And then down here we have the other types of eggs, snake nest. These are eggs with a 60% chance of leather. The bird eggs that we had in the last biome were a whatever percent chance of meat. So right away we know we need to put down a scavenger camp. Excuse me, sorry about that. A scavenger camp and a scavenger camp because we don't have a trapper's camp yet for the meat, and we don't have a trapper's camp to use on the snake nest. So we're going to need to start cutting into glades pretty quickly because we don't have a very large variety of resources. So let's start with the scavenger camp. I think I'll start, well, it doesn't matter, I'll just put it down. We need to pick out a glade to go into first. I will probably do a small glade. That one's pretty close. This one's a little bit bigger, not that it matters much, but maybe over here would be good. Yeah, maybe over here would be good. So let's put down our woodcutter camp still here close to the storage so they can walk and finish it fast. But then we're going to put down our roads. We'll do the same road grid as I always do. The giant H pattern across here like this. It's kind of an H pattern. And then we can take a look at the buildings if we want to, our blueprints. I may not take one yet. We also need to look at consumption control at some point. Let's throw the beavers in here. Okay, I was wrong. My tutorial is actually wrong. It does still default the lizard here, regardless of how they were in the camp or in the party. Because they were the bonus ones, they still stuck the lizard in here by default. I know, pick a blueprint. Let's do that, I think. And we're going to come up here and work on roots, I think, first. Actually, I'm going to save the consumption control screen for later once we have some more variety of foods. Because, well, no, actually it's fine. Let's do it now. Let's do it now, and then we'll, that'll probably be where we end this episode. So over here is all the raw food. You can't actually control which species can eat which kinds of raw food, but you can allow and disallow for everyone's eating of the raw food by checking and unchecking these boxes. And then this one here is the check all, uncheck all kind of box. Across the top here, you have your complex foods. You have your clothing, which is kind of in its own standalone category here, and then you have all the 6 of the services materials, or yeah, actions actually, not the materials themselves, but the actions. And you can also tell what the impact would be by disallowing something. So, assuming we were making biscuits, for example, by deselecting them for the beavers, that would impact them by 5 resolve points maximum. Same thing for humans. Disallowing services has a bit broader of an effect, which makes sense. I actually don't know why these are worth more than those other ones, but that's neither here nor there. And then jerky is worth 4 points here. Pickled goods are worth 8 points. So you can come in here also and see kind of what resolve value each type of food has, and maybe that'll help you focus on which types of foods you want to take buildings for first. Pickled goods is available pretty early on, but you need to have a vessel to put it in. Whereas jerky is also available from pretty early on, and you don't need anything for it. It's a simple recipe, so I guess that's probably why it's worth less. Skewers, biscuits, and pie are kind of intermediate recipes, so they've got 5 points. And you can check and uncheck these boxes for each race here. You can disallow entirely the beavers to consume any sort of anything, for example. I don't know that why you would specifically want to do that unless you really wanted to make them mad to make them leave or something. But that's an option, I suppose. I'm surprised there's not a uncheck all jerky or uncheck all, you know, whatever item instead of having to check each individual one. That would be kind of a useful thing too, but clicking these icons doesn't actually do anything. All right, so as I said, that's where we're going to end this episode. We're kind of over time again. I wanted to get a little bit more into this town, but we spent a lot of time talking about the level ups and the deeds and the upgrades and the embarkation choice here into the marshlands as well. So we're going to jump into this town fully in the next episode, and we'll see how we do. I'm going to explain stuff a little bit less than I did in the previous town, so the town should go a little bit faster in terms of you know, video time, and eventually we'll get up to where I was kind of paced at, I suspect, in the previous series, 2 to 3 episodes per town instead of 5 or whatever that one was. But I hope this was useful for those of you watching who are new to the game to understand my thought processes on why I've made the decisions I've made, and also how the different aspects of the game actually work. Because this game is very complex, as you can probably tell by now if you haven't already figured that out. And there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things that come together and interact with each other in different ways. And so the impact on you as a player is actually quite large, as a new player especially. So anyways, thank you for watching. I hope this was useful. I hope this is being useful for you. Check out my tutorial series as well for focused efforts on specific aspects of the game. And let me know what you think. Let me know if you might like another tutorial. And let me know if I have anything wrong, other than that whole who shows up in the Ancient Hearth thing. And I will make changes. I will make new tutorials. I have plenty more planned. But if I miss one, or if one of them is unclear, let me know, and I will update it and make it better. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.